Hey, it's Annabelle. I just wanted to start with some observations. One, I am in a different setting because my studio has moved. Also want to point out my braces. I'm not wearing it right now or else it'll be even harder to talk. You might notice like, well, what are those little tiny things in the mouth? I'm trying a cheaper brand because Invisalign doesn't have their patent anymore. This is the Inside Scoop. Due to a retainer mishap that happened the first time around, I'm trying to catch it as early as possible, and I've paid for my own treatment this time to have straight teeth once again because I was really happy with the results. The composite I had in high school, it blended into my teeth, so they're kind of off-white. But these composites are quite white, so makes my teeth look extra dirty. Not that I see anybody. And also when we go out, we have the mask on. Now, on to the more exciting part. I've moved my bedroom around with the studio because when I moved back here in March, Tyler was using this room to sleep in. This was my old bedroom in high school. That's when we moved into this house. The balcony room was my sister's bedroom. It was like a tea room, but my mom put an old futon in there, so it's almost like a guest room. But we have no guests. So it's just where we slept when we came home for Christmas. It turned into my studio, and it made sense because Tyler was already comfy with his monitors in this room, so I took that one. Tyler is still in Florida, and hopefully he will be able to stay there through the rest of the year. A lot of positions are remote right now, so he's doing not engineering, but he's doing 3D modeling and art to sustain himself right now. The longer he gets to stay in Florida and help out his mom during her recovery, the better. That was a green light for me to move into a slightly bigger room. It's not that there's actually that much square footage difference, but the difference is that the walls don't have either big windows or a balcony door that makes it difficult to arrange furniture, and the extra 6-foot table because I cleared off the monitors that have been dormant for months. All my clothes is still back in that room. It makes all the difference in the world to have an extra table now. My designated, more like office computer station. Behind me is all things art. And in the middle of the room is just whatever it needs to be because the small 3-foot table floats around the middle of the room and it's pushed against right behind you when I'm tufting because I've started that. Now that my room is big enough, I'm able to make little rugs. In my next living space, I can build a large one so I can create rugs that are 6 feet by 9 feet, etc. I've kind of been itching to get rid of the wall colors for a long time now. My chance came, I took it. So for 2 days, I repainted these 2 walls like a mustard yellowy. I had the color custom match. They can scan any chip you bring in, so I used gouache paint to mix up olive green and yellow ochre, and that's kind of exactly what this is because on first impression you want to say it's a deep yellow. It does feel rich like that in value, but then especially in the early morning when the light isn't yellow, like my light bulbs make it very yellow, then you're like, huh, it's kind of green. And I covered up the black and white stripes. My mom was really bummed out about that because she just thought it was really unique. I kept it in the bathroom though, because originally I wanted to paint the bathroom this color, kind of like a ballet slipper color, and it used to be a muted lavender, so I painted this. Behind the cabinet is still purple, so if the next residents of this home decide to take off the shelves, you'll see purple rectangle. Lastly, the wall over here is checker, but I'm not gonna do a tour right now because you'll see in the next vlog. The room is also a mess because I have piles of stuff I need to rearrange and old photographs that had to come off while I was painting, so I don't want to show you right now. Sorry for kind of teasing you, but just know that it's a very lovely peachy checker with the green from my old room I had left over. So that is the current situation and I'm very happy with it. Speaking of studio and art, I was vigorously painting gouache when I challenged myself to what I called art with doubts. I made a topic every day for October. I wanted to get better at gouache painting. In the first 2 weeks when I was kind of on top of things because it didn't happen for the rest of the month, just saying, I produced at least 2 that I definitely want to sell as prints. I'm very happy with that. And I also learned a lot about how I want to depict time of day, shadow. I made it through half the month until it became my birthday. And that day I went out with my mom to color me mine and we made ceramics. And actually, I had lunch today upstairs, and this is the bowl I painted myself. We were there for 5 hours. I had a lot of fun. Oh, don't mind the bay leaves. I had Thai curry today. I was like, okay, this is going to substitute my painting for the day because I was really exhausted mentally and physically. The whole studio change happened, and I haven't been able to sit my butt down nor like clear my desk to do painting. And then like before I knew it, it was almost the end of the month. I did name this Art with Doubt, so I'm also not completely ashamed that I dropped out halfway. And also gouache takes me, like one painting will take me minimum 2 hours, many of them 4 hours. So it just doesn't make it possible for me to get to video editing. That's why October I only posted twice. That's why my shop was also a little bit postponed again, except I'm really close. The only thing I'm missing is photographs. Thank you to the hundreds of people that subscribe to email notifications. I made uncomfortable eye contact with a lady in her stroller just now. Just imagine walking by and this girl sitting in her chair, like talking to herself. Where was I? I've always enjoyed cute marketing emails and thought like, oh my gosh, like one day I want to design like notifications. This whole journey this summer has been realizing when you're one person doing everything, it really helps to take the occasional aid from your mom, your sister, your friend who offers, Tyler. It couldn't be possible without them. On one hand, I don't feel like it's just me doing it, but the daily tasks and all of the management is one person, so I have to kind of humble myself and realize things take time if you want it to be done well. When I'm stressed out and feeling like I'm not as productive, I kind of lose appreciation for why I do what I do. Every time I say that line, I think of on Friends. Monica went on a date with one guy who is kind of big-headed, and he was just like, when you do what I do. With everything going on, I consoled myself with the rest of the prompts, the 15 or 16 prompts I didn't get to do. A lot of them are spooky season centric, like leading up to Halloween, but I think I'll still do them, but just at my own time so I can create works that I'm really happy with. My other update is, oh yeah, I read 4 books this month. I was kind of surprised because I was like, where did the time go? But then I realized that a couple of them I actually read very quickly. Coming from a person who never read, there was a time where I couldn't actually get through any reading without having the audiobook playing at the same time to assist me, or else I would have to read a sentence 6 times before it really registers and makes sense. For now, I like to stick to fiction. I like to stick to when writing kind of sounds like talking. A scene builds in my mind and I play it through like I'm watching a film many times. Do you do that when you read? Do you like to picture almost screenplay? It's a wonderful experience, and that's why I really like reading fiction. And I know my sister is all about nonfiction. I only have one of that. So I'm going to start in chronological order with The Worrier's Guide to the End of the World by Torre de Roche. This is not really a book review video, and I don't want to take too long, so I'm just going to gloss over each and every book, but I have high recommendations on this one. The narrator, which is the author herself, is quite crude and has a dark sense of humor. There's something about reading a story knowing that it's true that I guess makes it more captivating, I guess, because I'm getting to know the author, love, loss, and other catastrophes through Italy, India, and beyond. And the first time I glanced at it, what drew me in was the bright color from far away. I got this at the Brown bookstore in the clearance section. As a basic B, I looked it up on Goodreads. I saw it has good ratings. This kind of throws me off. Like anytime a subtitle is kind of long, I'm like, oh, this is too hard to think about. Basically, it's a woman trying to find herself again after losing her father. And her father was a very successful horror film, or was it horror film writer. The book opens up all about how close she was with her dad and their family traditions. She was at a crossroads with her life, trying to fight her depression. She goes on this very unexpected journey when she bumps into a stranger that becomes one of her closest friends. Coming face to face with their worst fears, they discover the power of friendship to save us from our darkest moments. That kind of sounds a little cheesy and is not like the tone of the book, by the way. One thing I love is how she weaves her self-reflection in her personal journey with what's actually happening. Instead of annotating a book, if I want to give it to someone else to read in the future, I jot down page numbers where there are excerpts that are very powerful and I want to think about again. And there were so many pages like that. And I wiped through the whole book in 4 hours. It's very interesting because she's somebody who's just always on the go and can never settle down, or else she would feel just restlessness and discontent. So she was very like nomadic, and it's very different from me because I certainly have never set sail for like 2 years across the ocean. The next book I read was Normal People because the previous novel I wiped through so quickly that I was craving another read. Yeesh, my battery died with the studio move and everything. There are some things I can't track down. My spare battery is one of them. I believe this is her sophomore. Did I just say that like I'm a smart person? Her second publication. The first book being Conversations with Friends. And that one is supposedly amazing, so I need to track that down. I don't necessarily like this book the way I expected, and an analogy would be just, it's not necessarily like sucking on sweets where you're exhilarating, it's an exhilarating read, but yet it's still captivating. The ending was also weirdly satisfying, and I really look forward to to watching the show because that's how I heard of the book. I heard it's really good, and I don't know if this is insulting, but because I heard that there's going to be even a second season, so it's going to be much longer compared to one novel. I want to say like it will help me understand a little better like maybe what the author was intending behind certain scenes. While I was reading this book, I thought like, I think I would be able to picture the people better as soon as like I watch the show. Like many blanks will be filled in. Another thing is that there's no quotations in the writing. Normally when characters speak, there's the quotes, but this is just all paragraphs. It's more subtle because of that. Or is it a common thing? Because I actually thought it's very intentional. The next one is Where'd You Go, Bernadette? I went to a local used bookstore. Quickly grabbed this thinking like, oh, what a steal. I think I bought this for $7. This is one of my favorite fiction books ever. I think it certainly opened my mind up to how wild and exaggerated characters can be, but they live in such a real world. Many things that happen could be told through email form or a note or first person, and maybe at times a newspaper article. You quickly realize that it's a collage of different means of communication, which just keeps it kind of fresh. It's not as funny as I thought it would be. Like I didn't LOL as much compared to the WORRIER'S guide, but I think it's because Tori DeRoche is very sarcastic and it cracks me up because maybe I have a similar sense of humor. But the events that happen in this book is just incredibly unpredictable and entertaining. When I was reading this book, I was like, whoa, this will be so cool as a movie. Like, I'm so glad there's a movie. I can't wait to watch. And then I discovered that it's so poorly rated that it makes me wish they should do a remake soon so that it can do the story justice. It's very fast-paced. A lot of things happen, but it's very much grounded with the relationship of the daughter with the mother, Bernadette. The book also brings you to Antarctica because they plan a trip there. And the way that the author writes also makes it really easy for me to picture scenes in my head. I loved the way she described Antarctica. I wonder if she went there herself. I loved how she described the many colors of Antarctica through shades of blue and gray and black. It's a very fun read, and it made a deep impression in me. The last book I found at Savers is called Fair Play. It is completely not what I thought it would be. A game-changing solution for when you have too much to do and more life to live. And I was thinking, okay, really? It's about how to balance out household duties with your partner. You have to be in a monogamous relationship for Fair Play, the game, to work. And apparently it's been tested across 500 different households through different cultures across the world in all kinds of financial standings. Many people have said that this has saved their marriage and their relationship and has helped them gain their sense of self back, especially after parenthood. I only saw the ratings. I didn't read really, so I just bought this book thinking it was something else. The game is about how to communicate with your partner basically and juggle all of the chores. The introduction starts with talking about the sexism, of course, in the domestic sphere. One thing I can gain is how much credit we need to put towards invisible work, chores, any household duties that you need to perform to uphold your life and to make your life run smoothly. We kind of denounce as like, ugh, those things take real minutes out of your day, and it shouldn't be an afterthought, or it shouldn't be expected that you get all of those things done and then have so much time and energy to put towards your work, and then on top of that have time for your friends or family to put on a big smile. Of course, you approach it with a lot of skepticism. Like, we don't want so much constraint in our relationship. This is not how you should balance a household. It should be natural. But all I can say is, if you want to try it for yourself, like read this yourself, it breaks it down very thoroughly, and it makes me curious to try this in the future when Tyler and I are living together. There are 100 cards. The goal is not to have it even 50-50. Of course, you drop cards. There's like a chapter about values, determining what is important to you. The goal is to clear time in your life so you can get to your unicorn space, which is basically the thing that makes your life worth living, what you're passionate about, what you love to spend your time doing. Once I reread this many years into the future, when I have my own kids, I think it's going to sit very differently. And I'm currently reading 2 books at the same time. I figured out that in the morning when I wake up, I read nonfiction, and then at night to unwind, I read fiction. I don't have any other updates. I was hoping to be able to speak to you all dressed up, because yesterday was Halloween. I wanted to like draw cat whiskers or do something festive, because I haven't really celebrated Halloween since high school. I didn't get to do anything yesterday because I wasn't feeling well. My eyes were itchy, so itchy, and I couldn't stop sneezing. I thought this is definitely allergies, maybe because the wind has been really strong in fall. All the pollen must have gotten to me. I finally caved in and took allergy medicine because it makes me really sleepy. Even the non-drowsy one makes me feel extremely foggy. Like, I was like, I'm not gonna take any medicine, but I was sneezing so much that I couldn't actually get any work done anyway. The tiredness really hit me. I went to bed at 7, and I rested for about 12 hours. When I woke up today, I felt really good and back to normal. Oh, but one thing I did do last week, only outing that my mom and I made, we drove to buy some vegan chocolate, and down the block there was an antique shop. My mom found a cool Japanese antique teapot that's hexagonal, so the sides are flat with paintings on them, which is really cool because she's only ever had round ones. And it comes with a base that you can put a little tea light under to keep it warm. And then I found this teacup and saucer, matching saucer, that was made in England by Royal Standard. Oops, bad etiquette. We got some chocolate from Jacques. A long time ago when I bought food from Vegan Supply, I tried a couple of Jacques chocolate. It's amazing. So this holiday season, if you're vegan or even not, you want to find some plant-based chocolates. They have these bites. They also have bars that I've never tried, but I only got this combo of bites. They are pricey. It's like 99 cents, I believe, for one. I thought it was worth investing in because not only is it plant-based, so no milk or anything, it tastes just like milk chocolate, and they have white chocolate too. I really treasured the chocolate. I don't eat it too quickly. This is the white chocolate that I'm finishing. It's a little heart. Oh, I'm sorry, hold on. Bambi wants me. Come on in. Sorry, I'm just taking a moment to enjoy this. To get the texture really right, and it's not as sweet, the white chocolate specifically. And that's it to this month's notes. Thank you so much for joining me, and I hope to see you soon. Sending you my love. Take care. Rest well. Goodbye. Her second publication. What is the color called? Yellow. Yellow. Spooky set. Burnt sienna, yellow ochre. Ha, yellow ochre.